It's Friday evening in Kpalan community, Grand Cape Mount County, about 88 kilometers away from Monrovia. Some residents of this community, renowned for fishing and hunting, are back home after their daily hustles, not fishing in Lake Piso, which is nearby, or hunting for wild animals in the forest here, because such activities are against the wildlife law. The law was enacted by the Liberian legislature in 1987. Residents claim REDD+ encouraged compliance to the law by promising alternative livelihoods, including cattle raising, in exchange for abandoning their primary sources of survival. They say REDD+ made such promises to them through its local implementing partner, Community Development Initiative, CDR. The local community leadership set up by CDR says two agents of the organization, Dodo Gray and Patricia Samula, allegedly made the promise to them during a community meeting last September.
Where they promised us if and only if we stop cutting the mango and killing wild animals from the forest, at least they were going to empower us, our women, and they were going to at least bring some kind of trade school to our junction there, because there we show them for our boys, and then they were going to bring animals for us to be managing with them, for our children to be going to school, because that was our crying from the community.
Mr. Davis says Patricia and Gray also promised them a cassava farm, but says, like in the case of other promises allegedly made to them, that too has yet to be fulfilled. Emmanuel Sherman, Secretary General of the CDI Punta Community Committee, sums up the people's disappointment.
I hope at that actually, but we are still thinking, we are still looking at humanitarian or NGOs.
In the mobile phone interview, Ms. Samula confirms Davis's claims that they conducted an awareness campaign in the Kpalan community last September.
It was the first project that we had 2017-2018. We went there to create an awareness on this climate change, the effect of climate change deforestation. So when the awareness component phased out, we were expecting now empowerment or capacity building.
Ms. Samula said she was disappointed when the boss told her they could no longer return to Kpalan community to continue the awareness campaign for REDD+. Subsequent calls to Samula to confirm what promises were made during the awareness were not returned.
Mr. Stevens, you are welcome to the FDA.
Sir Davis, National Coordinator of the REDD Implementing Unit at the Forestry Development Authority FDA Head Office, denies claims by residents of Kpalan community that Gray and others carried out an awareness on REDD+'s behalf in the area. He said he does not know Patricia, but knows Gray. Davis said Gray was not employed by REDD+, but CDR, who has a contract to create an awareness on REDD+'s activities. CDR Chief Executive Officer Lawrence Bondo told us at the institution's Monrovia office that Gray and Patricia work for him. Mr. Bono also says CDR did create an awareness for REDD+ in Kpalan community, thus contradicting Mr. Davis's claims that no awareness was conducted.
Maybe they didn't understand what we said, or probably they took other people for us, because we have gone there. We've been there for 1 year providing awareness on they should not fish with smaller nets in the water and all the kind. That place should be protected, and it should look to the future. But we didn't tell them to go and start planting 30 acres of land, expecting to come and get a steel mill.
Francis Cudi, head of programs of Forest Watchdog Green Advocates, says REDD+ is promoting big companies at the expense of poor communities.
We promised through the concessions that the concessions will deliver the jobs, a better day. Are we having better day now? Are we having the jobs? They said we could have social services. Are we having all of that?
But Mr. Sir Davis of REDD+ dismisses claims that REDD+ is a modern capitalist enterprise protecting big concession companies such as Golden Verolium, Sam Darby, and Equatorial Palm Oil.
So the question is, like companies like GVL, companies like Sam Darby has signed up to what you call the Tropical Forest Alliance, TFA 2020. And these agreements they signed up to has restricted them. And I mean it, absolutely, their agreements they signed up to in the international community have restricted them from destroying the forest, from cutting down forests.
While Mr. Davis is an advocate for communities, he also understands the need to support the big companies who he feels bring some benefit to the country.
Realistically speaking, as a Liberian, it would be better for us as a country to be able to even protect companies, because those companies people have invested their money. If you can't protect the investor, who do you expect to come and invest?
Mr. Cooley of Green Advocates says there are several unanswered questions about the operations of REDD+ in Liberia, warning residents of communities where the project is implemented will kick it out when they recognize promises have not been kept.
So if we're not careful, REDD is going to backfire. Because when the community actually get to know that it will affect their livelihood, they're not going to accept that. They're not going to accept that. They will stand up.
Affect their livelihood in what way?
So for example, what we're doing is we tell them you're not going to make fine anymore.
Mr. Sherman says the people of Kpalan are still hopeful of REDD+ returning to their community.
Actually, we want the REDD+ to come. We are still in need of them because we don't have nothing to do now. We don't have no job. We don't have any other thing. We were thinking, and when we saw them, say we were actually happy when they told that we should start donating the forest and we should start killing wild animals. We were actually happy to see that. Then we gave the support. We were actually happy for the support.
But it remains to be seen whether REDD+ will return to the community to fulfill its alleged promises amid contradictions from the coordinator of REDD in Liberia and CDR boss over an awareness in the community as the hope of the people of Kpalan community fades. This report was produced by Power TV in collaboration with New Narratives and the American Jewish World Service. The funder had no say on the story's content. I'm Anthony Stevens reporting.